Salutation and hi and Assalamualaikum from me. With me, your news presenter Muhammad Amar Bedu Malik. On the broadcast Malaysian Boss Times. Firstly, demand can be defined as the desire and willingness of a consumer to get an item to a certain price level in a certain period of time. The entire demand for homes is recorded as decreasing to 14.8% in a row due to the abrupt spike in pricing. The Malaysian Property Market Report MPMR for the first quarter of 2023, according to the Property Guru Malaysia, shows that property prices continue to climb despite a decline in buyer demand. Please contact our presenters directly for the most recent and clearest development from the scene.
Good, thank you co-presenter. Now, I am at the Gompak, Kuala Lumpur, and I'm here to learn more about the housing problem, cost and the living of community demand for homes. I'm bringing Mr. Wan, a local resident with me. This is to attest his viewpoint about the diminishing value of homes. Could you answer me please on the issue, Mr. Wan?
Assalamualaikum. In my perspective, this problem is not unusual or unsurprising to the community. This is due to the fact that given the current state of economy, unpredictability and the financial difficulties, the communities appear to be less interested in purchasing a home. Additionally, the need is exacerbated by growing housing costs. Many people believe until their finances are more established before purchasing a home.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wan, for the feedback that you provide. That's all. Back on to the studio.
Good, thank you for your report, Khai. Here we provide interview coverage from another location. Malaysian GDP expanded by 7% in the fourth quarter of 2022 and by 8.7% for the entire year. An improving labour market and rising domestic demand helped to fuel the rise. Although there was less demand from the outside, the rebound in the tourism industry and the success of exports of electronics and electricity made up for the slower increase. For those looking to buy a property, inflation is still a concern. However, headline inflation decreased from 4.5% in Q3 to 3.9% in Q4. Despite recent encouraging advances, the market continues to face difficulties. The Malaysian economy will expand at a slower rate of 4.0 to 5.0% in 2023, according to the BNM.
To share more information on this problem, we have moved to several locations and now I feel in Petaling Jaya, Kuala Lumpur. With me is Miss Adeline, who is resident of this area to share about the problem first related to the price issue and the rising house. Please, Miss Adeline.
Assalamualaikum. In regards to the housing situation, it seems to me that the neighborhood is more interested in renting than buying a home. Not because they don't want to, but rather because they feel unable to. Particularly those who are not in the 2020. They have been unable to plan to purchase a home, especially given the rising cost of housing. Only individuals with some financial situations or those who are already married now buy homes. On the other perspective, rising loan costs and inflation have a negative impact on purchasers' purchasing power, requiring the seller to increase the asking price to cover the high cost of real estate investment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Miss Adeline, for the sharing earlier. Back to the studio.
Thank you for our reporter Rizwan. So basically, demand stimulates the economy and drive profits. It's a crucial idea as a result. Supply and demand are closely related ideas. Suppliers seek to maximize profits while consumers strive to pay the lowest cost possible for goods and services. Buying a house is a good thing, but most of the people decide not to buy and rather to rent because they cannot afford the addition due to the less stable economy. So far, that's all I can include so far. That's all from me as your latest new presenter on channel Malaysian Voice Times. Thank you.